Good evening, everybody. This is your boy, Dr. D. I want to first start by saying I apologize for the technical difficulties that we experienced. Like anything, you cannot predict technology. We understand that technology will fail us. And so I want to apologize for that. And I pray that you will still share, you will still send this out to your friends, because tonight is an amazing night to actually watch our show. So again, I apologize for the technical difficulties that we experienced. And I hope those who are watching by replay or who are following us will continue to send people our way and to see this show. So again, thank you for joining us. Again, I'm Dr. D, your Dr. PickEd, your host for Black Excellence Speaks for Itself. What is that? PickEd Speaks. Exactly. Tonight, I want to do something different. Tonight, I actually want to have an encore presentation for you. I would actually like to highlight one of the episodes that we actually done in our first season. And man, we have come a mighty long ways. It's our first season, right? And so tonight, I want to be able to recognize I want to be able to bring one of our episodes on where we had some amazing young men join us. It was one of our best episodes, one of my favorite episodes, where we had three young men who were talking about the experiences of being young Black men here in this nation right now. We shot this episode during the summertime, when a lot of the social unrest and things were happening across our nation, between Rashad Brooks in Atlanta. And against all these individuals who pretty much were being put in positions to where we were being, if you will, targeted, if you will, right? And so these three young brothers really came we had a 2-part series. And so tonight you're actually going to hear part 2 of our discussion and conversation with these young brothers. So often we have conversations about young people, and we talk about what they need and talk about bringing solutions to the table. But very rarely do we actually have real conversations with young people about their future and about how they can help bring change within their communities. And so please make sure you join us live next week. We will be live next week right here at 7 o'clock, where we bring together Mr. Arrington Foster, who also, if you remember Darren D. Henson, who joined us at the beginning of this season, he also plays his co-star in the BET series, The Family Business. So please make sure you join us next Monday night, right here at 7 o'clock, where we have Arrington Foster. But do not go away, because I want tonight's episode to really bless you as well. So if you have young men, if you have young people, bring them into the room right now. Let them hear this conversation, because it was an amazing experience talking to these young brothers during the summertime about social justice, social unrest, and what it means to be a young Black man living in America right now. And it still resonates. Even here we are months later, it still resonates. So please join us for this encore presentation. I hope you will enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.
A voice of reason, a voice of purpose, to a generation in need. Welcome to PickEd Speaks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the new edition of PickEd Speaks, where, again, Black excellence speaks for itself. I am Dr. PickEd, your host for tonight, and again, tonight is bound to be absolutely amazing. If you thought last week was great, stay tuned for tonight, because the same three young men who joined us last week are on with us tonight. Of course, that's Dion McKinley, Christian McIntosh, and of course, Miles Jackson. And why not go ahead and bring them on in now? So I'm bringing in Dion, I'm bringing in Christian, and I'm bringing in Miles. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
Good, and you?
Doing great.
I'm good, thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you young brothers being on again with us tonight. I am so excited to kind of have you back. I was just really excited that the people wanted to hear from you all again. They really wanted to hear what you young brothers had to say. And I was just so excited about, bringing you all back. And so again, thank you all for being here. Before we hop into the conversation, I know that we had to cut the conversation short last week because unfortunately we kind of went overtime. And so before we kind of delve into the discussion for tonight, was there anything pressing on any of your brothers' hearts or minds that you wanted to share? That something that we did not get a chance, that you didn't get a chance to say last week, that it was really pressing on your heart, or something that's been tugging with you this week, that you or over the course of the week, you say, you know what, I want to make sure I share it. I want to get it off of me. I kind of want to put into the atmosphere. Is there anything specific that you want to kind of impart into this space before we actually go deep into our conversation?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. All right. So let's go into it. So, Dion, I saw you come off mute. You had something?
I was gonna relay the same information that Christian just said.
Okay.
I didn't really have anything yet.
Okay. So let's go into the conversation. So last week we kind of went deep. The conversation of the topic was broken yokes of the new gen movement. And again, we discussed this conversation about what yokes were. Of course, these things that were worn on particularly oxen and those to kind of carry things from one area to another. They were this weight that they wore. And it was something that kind of held them down. It was something that kind of was, and we talk about it spiritually and theoretically. Again, as these weights and as these strongholds are these things, and what we talked about was your generation being the generation that's trying to lift those off and kind of change the narrative. And we talked about, do you have the space? Do you have the platform in order to share and have have those conversations? And so I kind of want to continue in that vein and start off with the question of, and I'll kind of start this with Dion. As we're talking about having the space and having the autonomy to share, your thoughts and your voice. How does having your voice, because you have to be young, you have a very strong voice. How does having your voice help you cope a lot of times with a lot of things that you see? Like, how does having your individualized voice and having the ability to speak, how does that help you maneuver through what you're seeing in the world right now?
I think for me, one of the main reasons why, like, I personally use my voice too, is because like trauma and things you see every day, it kind of builds up. For me, I'm lucky that naturally I like to release myself in talking and stuff like that. And I think it's very important because you have to allow yourself in order to have that voice or that space, you have to create it, obviously. And I think using your voice to create that space or set that tone, especially when you know a lot and you have a lot of information that you want to spread, I think it gives yourself a platform naturally, as opposed to just being quiet or maybe writing it down and posting on social media. When someone hears the tone of your voice, it kind of changes the person, because when you sit there and you talk about something on social media, you type it, no one's hearing how you say it. Everyone's reading it. So whatever way they take the information, so they take the information. If you're going to be on the platform and you naturally just create your voice and you just start talking in general, then if like you're trying to be serious and like, whoa, that was very serious. If it's very emotional, they'll be drawn to being emotional.
And Christian, if you could think about some person right now, who would you say is the most influential person that either in your life or just someone that you emulate or someone you look at and say, you know what, I appreciate their voice. I appreciate who they are, because, they speak a truth. They speak, who they are, who in your life, either personally or just someone you admire that you see just kind of resonates with you as far as having a voice?
I don't think I really have anyone who is influential outside of people who are personal to me. But my parents, for one, they are influential to me. They are always pushing me to have a voice and then not to be shy about if I have an idea in my mind, then I express it out without hesitation. If I want to say something against another topic, and I do so without hesitation as well. They've always been the influential position in my life.
And how has staying with you for a second, Christian. How has having that kind of encouragement and support, how has that been helpful as you